I know what school your brother go to. But then you traumatized. A lot of people say, why didn't you tell it? Well, if I told it and something happened to either one of my family members that they said they were going to do something to, then I'm automatically traumatized for the rest of my life. Also, you get to see them beat another little girl or another young lady in front of you. So if you already saw that, you already know what's going to happen. I got an 8-inch stab wound in my back now. I don't know how many scars in my head for trying to get away, for trying to run away. And so it didn't work for me. So that made me like, I'm not going to be able to tell anything else. So I just want I want everybody to know that you got to quit turning your head. You got to quit saying, it don't happen here, it's just in India, Cambodia. It is right in your backyard. And the story in Cincinnati, Ohio, if everybody remember that, them 3 girls that was in that basement for 10 straight years, if everybody remember that story, it'll tell you that it's definitely in your backyard. And so I just want people to really understand that they have to talk about this. I'm willing to talk to anybody. I'm willing to share my story. I'm willing to come and speak anywhere. All they have to do is just call me up, 615-589-8984. And I'll come anywhere, because not only are they asking for the girls, they're asking for the little boys. So when I was in Louisiana, one of the clerks, workers had went online and ordered a 10-year-old boy. And this is why we was opening this subject, because this is not just a can of worms. This is a conversation and a concern for the entire state of Tennessee.
And so people are able to order children by way of the internet. Men are able to order young boys and young girls and et cetera, simply with a click of the mouse.
Yes.
Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
That's how prevalent it is now, and how widespread.
Yeah, everybody know about the page called Backspace, Backpage. That's for the girls. And then you got a gay page that they go on for the little boys. And they order them and say how old they want them to be, what color hair they want them to be, how much they want them to weigh. And the guy actually showed up at the hotel with $200, 5 condoms, a date rape drug, and a lubricant. He actually showed up for a 10-year-old boy, and this man worked for the feds. So it's like, it's not just no pimping game. This is a government issue, and they are covering it up, and they know that they can do something about this sex trafficking if they wanted to. You got drug trafficking, gun trafficking, and sex trafficking. Well, the drug trafficking is number 1, the sex trafficking number 2, and then the guns. See, the guns was number 2, but now they selling people more than they are guns.
And from what I understand, this is a real problem with youth. When you mention drugs, alcohol, and sex, that's one of the areas where many of our young people, our teenagers, are caught up in one of the more detrimental areas of their lives.
Yes.
When they get involved in drugs, sex, and guns.
Yes.
Is that what we're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I've been gone for 18 months to New Orleans, and this is why I'm back on your set, letting people know I'm back. I'm hitting the streets. I'm coming after my young girls. I'm coming after my young boys. It ain't about violence. It's about protecting them, period. I've already had a phone call from several young girls telling me that they went to the hotel with their boyfriend because they thought they loved them, and when they got there, it was other men in there waiting for them that they have already paid for to have these kind of sex activities with these little girls. They are getting caught up once they turn me onto that X pill or that bar or that crack or the heroin that's coming out now. The new heroin is coming back. Once they get the young girls on that right there, then they on their way to being sold as slaves.
We've got to do more, you think, as a community and as a society in reference to this, Ms. CGreenlee.
Yes.
Having had a chance to work, what would you suggest that we do in terms of trying to get a handle on this?
Number 1, I suggest the subject start happening in church. The subject start being talked about in schools, and the subject start being talked about in libraries, because those are the 3 places where they all are gathered at. And I know people don't want to talk about sex in church, but you need to talk about sex in church. You need to talk about sex trafficking. It's right next door. All of these black girls that are missing has not ran away from home. And I'm not just throwing it on a racial thing, but you tend to look for more other colors, like India or white or Latino or something. You tend to look for them more than you do black. If you go on black page, black girls missing, you'll see a bunch of us missing. So why nobody looking for them? How we know they're not tied up? How we know they're not in the basement gagged up and shot up for the dope and can't scream? Because for a long time I was gagged up, I was shot up for the dope, and I couldn't scream.
And so this is a real problem, and that what we're doing now is to simply try to highlight that and make people much more aware of it. And I have to admit that this is an eye-opener to me. Of course, I've heard of sex trafficking and, you know, here and there, but I didn't know it was such an industry. And you were saying that it is a real industry, and people are making a lot of money, and a lot of folks are getting hurt in reference to it, and et cetera. And I think you mentioned the problem down in Louisiana, where the government is actually changing things in such a way that's detrimental to young girls more than anything else. Is that what we're?
Yes, he had made the laws stricter for the perpetrators now and the pimps. Like I said, the pimps is not in an afro and a Cadillac anymore. And he changed the law so tough that he flew me back down to stand there with him while he signed the new law and gave me a copy of it with the ink pen. So I was really proud of that. So whatever I was saying to him, it rests his ears, but more than anything, it rests his heart. He might have daughters himself or granddaughters, and it gave him something to think about. So now, if we done this in Louisiana, we need to do it in Tennessee, and this is what I'm here to talk about. I got both ends of the story. I got sex trafficking and I got youth violence, and I'm done with just talking about it. I want to be about it.
And they both seem to come together. That violence is often associated with this trafficking, and whether violence or trafficking, young people, young females primarily, many females primarily are caught up in it, and there's nothing that they can do themselves, and they need some kind of assistance, some kind of help out of this.
Yeah. If anybody just even take a chance and just run around to some of these hotels, you will see the age range has changed. There's no more 20-something out there. They are 13-something out there. And it's sad. And you just look at them dressed like I was dressed, in the short dress and the high heels and all the lipstick. And everybody pointing at them just like they did me. Look at that fast-ass girl. Look at her with all that lipstick. But then nobody reach out to say, let me do something with this little girl. She don't need to be out here. So if we stop turning our head and quit judging and reach out and support, then we are the ones that can make something different in this community, especially around sex trafficking.
Well, and Ms. Greenlee, we're coming to the end of this show for today. And I want to thank you for that excellent information. I think that this is the show that we've been trying to get for a long time, because I think it has been quite recently. And I think that, needless to say, that all of the problems that we're having across the border in reference to those young people coming across the border, I think that might be involved in some of the activities that we're talking about. And we want to talk about it later, because I think that you probably got a lot of information in reference to what's going on with that. But in the meantime, let me thank you and to tell you how much we appreciate you coming by and giving us that information. And let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.